Good morning, preppers. Time is short. Time is worrisome. Very fearful, concerned about some of the things that actually happened over the past few days. Let's jump right into it. First off, I'm sure you saw this. Brazen strikes deep inside Russia complicate support from the U.S. and allies for Ukraine. So if you didn't see this, Ukraine actually had a drone strike on military bases deep inside Russian territory, exposing their vulnerabilities. Okay, yet those attacks are creating a major headache for the U.S. and its allies. I love that. Listen, this right here actually makes me laugh because you can't send billions of dollars of weapons to Ukraine with clean hands. You can't do it. Here's all these weapons, but we had no part of this. Of course you did. And think about it this way. And I'm not trying to play either side between Russia and Ukraine and the U.S. I'm simply just stating the facts. You understand? Russia invading Ukraine would have actually been much more sweeping and much more easy if the U.S. had not provided weapons to Ukraine. Now the Ukraine has those weapons, and because of that are able to hold off Russia in a lot of areas. And now because of the U.S. sending weapons to Ukraine, they can now springboard and actually send drone strikes into Russia. Are they valid for doing this? Sure. I mean, listen, how many drone strikes have there been from Russia and Ukraine? Okay, but don't get too much into as far as like who's at fault here, except for, you know what, the United States. Okay, and I'm not saying the United States should or shouldn't have actually taken part, although I think in a lot of cases they should have. But the Biden administration over the past several days has been scrambling to distance itself from the strikes on the Russian military bases and strategically vital airport. Officials at the State Department Pentagon stressed that the U.S. had no involvement with the operations and did not encourage Ukrainians to attack the targets. I am so sorry for laughing. Yeah, basically, look, Ukraine, here's all these weapons, billions of dollars of taxpayers' money to send them these weapons. But, whoa, hey, we didn't do this. We didn't have any part of this. Granted, it may not have been an American drone. May not have, may have. Who knows what's true as far as what's happening there. But our hands are bloody from this. Our hands are into this. And you can't distance yourself. It's already there. In fact, this administration has been clearly stating that, I mean, not clearly stating, but they've definitely been pushing in the direction that they want this war to happen. They want a war between Russia and NATO. That's what it seems to me anyway. I'd like to get your viewpoint on this. But that's exactly what it seems like it's going on with me as far as this absolute joke saying that they basically are trying to distance themselves. We have neither encouraged nor enabled Ukrainians, there's the key, to strike inside Russia. Of course you've enabled them because Ukraine would be flattened by now if you didn't actually send in weapons from America. Okay, so obviously Russia is not going to take this lying down. Captured Russian documents reveal Moscow's 10-day plan to take over the country and kill its leaders. Now, I've found this on a couple news sources. Sky News is one of them. How relevant or real this is, it's really difficult to say. But apparently a British agent brought back notes saying Russia has planned to start an invasion with a massive missile and airstrike campaign against Ukraine, who would be intimidated and who would be targeted as a collaborator. A British defense and security think tank revealed details of their pre-invasion plan. This amazes me, by the way. They had planned to take over Ukraine in 10 days and annex it by August this year. So obviously we're looking at a little bit of time coming. And I would say August this year. When did this come out? This actually just came out, which is like amazing to me that they say this year. So maybe this is a typo, and I don't know if they mean by August 2023. That's probably what they mean. Pay no attention to these weird pictures. According to the British Army linked to the think tank, only a small group of Russian officials were aware of the plans. And apparently they're looking at doing a full-scale, speedy invasion of Ukraine. Now, the question is this speedy invasion as a result because of the drones? Is Putin simply using this as a scapegoat? Were the drones a false flag? All that stuff remains to be seen. We don't know. However, there is something that we must look at that's actually even more terrifying than that. And right out in the news as of today, Putin claims nuclear risk is increasing. Vladimir Putin claimed the risk of nuclear exchange is rising as a result of the nation's unprovoked war on Ukraine. Such a threat is growing. It would be wrong to hide it, Putin said. We have not gone mad. We're aware of nuclear weapons are, he said, adding, we aren't about to run the world brandishing this weapon like a razor. Putin hinted his country did not rule out using nuclear weapons. As for the idea that Russia wouldn't use such weapons first under any circumstances, then it means that we wouldn't be able to use them as a second to use them either. In other words, a preemptive strike. Putin was apparently referring to a military view that a preemptive strike on Russia, presumably by the U.S., could destroy his country's ability to defend itself. Nevertheless, we have a strategy, namely, as a defense, we consider weapons of mass destruction as nuclear weapons. It is all based on the so-called retaliatory strike. That is, when we're struck, we will strike in response. Now, with that in mind, of course, he's talking about nuclear weapons, and whenever they talk about nuclear weapons in this scenario, of course, things are really getting serious at that point. But I wonder if there's a little bit of hidden meaning there. Getting hit by the drones, and then suddenly said, you know what, when we get struck, we'll strike back. And obviously, he may not be talking about nuclear as far as the drones go, but between all the stuff we're seeing coming out of there, it looks like to me we're going to be seeing a major assault into Ukraine relatively soon. And I've kind of wondered why Russia has even held back. And the Ukrainians have kicked some keister. They've done pretty well using American weapons. And by the way, some of the weapons from America were in our rusting stockpile of stuff we needed to use up or destroy anyway, so we just gave them to them. You have to understand that it wasn't a lot of our high-tech stuff, even though some of that was included, like the Javelin, for example. But you have to wonder, Russia has a lot of stuff. Russia has a lot of armament and a lot of people. And it seems to be, in my opinion, they're just toying around with Ukraine right now. It's interesting. What do you think about this whole thing? And do you think we're going to actually be going into an all-out war with Russia? And I'm talking about the United States. Do you think it's going to happen? I'm curious to see what your thoughts are. Thanks for watching.